Welcome students. Today our topic is that where does photosynthesis takes place, and we have already discussed about chlorophyll. Now the question arises that where is this chlorophyll present? Okay, this chlorophyll and other pigments. The answer to this question is that chlorophyll and the other pigments, they all are present in the chloroplast, and chloroplasts are the organelles which are present in certain parts of the plant. The next question is try to name some parts of the plant where do you think photosynthesis occurs. So you cannot say that photosynthesis occurs in all the green parts of the plants. You will answer this question as this, that photosynthesis occurs in the parts of the plants where chloroplasts are present, where chlorophyll is present. The next question is, do you think the new reddish leaves of the plants also carry out photosynthesis? So we have also discussed this question in the previous lecture. The answer to this is technically yes, as the new leaves, they are carrying out photosynthesis by helping in trapping the sunlight. You know, this last line of the previous lecture, that they pass the solar energy to the chlorophyll. What could be the role of their color? So this is the role. They help to trap the sunlight. They help to trap the solar energy and transfer it to the chlorophyll. So these pigments such as the anthocyanin or the carotenes, these are the accessory pigments. They help in photosynthesis as by transferring the light energy, by passing the light energy to the chlorophyll. All the green structures in the plants, which include the stem and the unripened fruit, even the fruits, you have seen the fruits which are green in color, such as the green apple, which is still unripened, and the green mango, alright? Those unripened fruit, they contain chloroplast. Okay, so, but the majority of the photosynthesis activity in most plants occurs in the leaves. Okay, the majority of the activity in the leaves, but anywhere where there are chloroplasts. So these two areas, just as the unripened fruit or the stems, they contain chloroplast. So photosynthesis occurs in them. But majority of the photosynthesis, it occurs in the leaves. This is a leaf, and these are the certain parts of the leaf. Now there is a part of the leaf which is known as the petiole. The petiole is attached to the stem. Okay, so even the photosynthesis can occur in the petiole if the petiole has the chloroplast. Now the scientists wanted to know the exact location of the photosynthetic part. Alright, so let me read this paragraph. The exact location of the photosynthetic part or a part containing chlorophyll was not known till another 6 decades, means till 60 years it was not known that which is the part which is responsible for the photosynthesis. After Palacier and Cavendish discovered chlorophyll, it was believed to be spread in the cells of green plant parts. So in 1883, Julius von Sachs, then he observed that chlorophyll in the plant cells is not spread throughout the entire cell. Like it is not spread in the whole cell, it is rather found in the organelles in the cell. Now keep a notice on this word. This is known as the organelles in the British English and organelles in the American English. So you can pronounce it in the both ways, organelles or organelles. Okay. So such organelles were named as chloroplasts. What were named as chloroplasts? Those organelles that had the chlorophyll inside them. These are present in large numbers in the cells, around 40 to 100 of plant tissue. Okay, like chloroplasts are present 40 to 100 per plant tissue. And what are those plant tissues or the cells where chloroplasts are seen or present? These are the stomatal guard cells. Do you remember our first lecture when we talked about stomata, that carbon dioxide and the gaseous exchange occur through the stomata and the other ground tissues of the plants? So here is the transverse section of a leaf, means the leaf has been cut by a cross section, and it is showing chloroplast in the palisade parenchyma. Now we have three points to discuss: the stomatal guard cells, the ground tissues, and the palisade parenchyma. As you can see here, it is written the palisade parenchyma, these parts. Okay, these cells, you see these longitudinal, these long cells, here the chloroplasts are present. Now this is the color diagram for the transverse section of the leaf. The upper part of the leaf, it is known as the cuticle, or you can say the waxy layer, which is present on all the leaves. You have seen that whenever you see a leaf, whenever you look at it, the upper surface appears to be shiny. That shiny or waxy, you see the waxy texture or waxy surface, that is due to the cuticle. Cuticle makes it appear waxy or shiny. Alright, then the part comes the upper epidermis. The first part is the cuticle, the second part is the upper epidermis, and the middle part is the mesophyll. You see, this is the middle part and this is the mesophyll. Let me change the color. This middle part, this is mesophyll. Okay, between both the epidermis, the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis is the middle part, which is known as the mesophyll. And this mesophyll is divided into two types of cells. One are the palisade mesophyll cells and the spongy mesophyll cells. Now these mesophyll cells, these are also known as the parenchyma cells. So this can be called as palisade parenchyma and this can be called as spongy parenchyma. Alright, then the lower epidermis and the lower cuticle. In the lower surface of the leaf, there are the guard cells and there are the stoma or the stomata. The palisade parenchyma has been labeled here as it has the chloroplast, vacuole, nucleus, cell wall, cytoplasm. Now, what your book has written, it has written that chloroplasts are present in the palisade parenchyma. So you have to learn this. Okay, you have to learn according to your book. But let me tell you that chloroplasts are not only present in the palisade parenchyma, they are also present in the spongy parenchyma. In fact, chloroplasts are present in the mesophyll cells, not only the palisade. But you have to learn what your book has written. Your book has written about palisade parenchyma, you have to learn that. But you should know that it is also present in the spongy parenchyma. What is parenchyma? Parenchyma is a Greek word. Para means beside and n means to pour. Parenchyma tissues, they are composed of living cells which are variable in their morphology and physiology. These parenchyma cells, they are present in various type of morphology. Some are circular, some are angular, and according to them they are called circular parenchyma or the angular parenchyma. Here is another diagram. It is showing that it is a leaf and the transfer section of the leaf is shown here. So here these are the mesophyll cells, and inside the mesophyll cells, now this mesophyll cell can be a palisade mesophyll or the spongy mesophyll. This mesophyll cell has chloroplast. You see this. There are many chloroplasts in the mesophyll cell. So what are the ground tissues of the plants? Okay, so any tissue of the plant which does not belong to the dermal cell, the dermal tissue layer, or the xylem and phloem, means the vascular bundles. Xylem and phloem are known as the vascular bundles. So ground tissue are those tissues that make up the inside of the plants, means the inside part of the plant, not the outer part. What is the outer part? Let me show you here. This outer part, this is the dermal tissue layer. Okay, this is known as the epidermis. You already know about epithelial and epidermis. Okay, so this is the dermal tissue, and the inside, the xylem and phloem, these are known as the vascular tissues or the vascular bundles. So these two, any other tissue which are other than these two are known as the ground tissue, means they make up the inside, they make up the mid part of the plant. You see this ground tissue, what it is occupying? It is occupying the mid part, this part. It is not occupying the outer part and the middle part. It is only occupying the middle part. Okay, so this is the ground tissue. What does the ground tissue do? It helps to carry out the photosynthesis in leaves. It supports the plants and it stores photosynthetic products. You see, this is the middle portion. This is the inside portion. This is not the xylem and phloem, and this is not the dermal tissue. So these are the mesophyll. The mesophyll cells, these are also the ground tissues. Okay. So the where is the photosynthesis takes place? It is taking place in the ground tissues. It is taking place in the chloroplast of the ground tissues. So now we have the stomatal guard cells. The stomata is present on the lower surface of the leaf. You can see it is a diagram of the guard cell. Now the guard cell are the cells which are present around the stoma. This hole, this is known as the stoma. So these are the guard cells which are around the stoma. You see in the guard cells there are the nucleus and other structures, cell wall, central vacuole, etc. So these guard cells, these are also carrying chloroplast. Okay, so the photosynthesis takes place also in this guard cell because they have the chloroplast. The question is, what makes chloroplast appear completely different from other cell organelles or organelles? So how we can say that chloroplasts are different from all other the organelles? The answer to this is number one, they contain the pigment. All right. We already know that where is the pigment located? It is located in the chloroplast. So pigment is not located in any other organelle of the cell. You know about the nucleus, ribosomes, Golgi apparatus. There is no pigment in them. Okay, so pigment is found in the chloroplast. That is why they are unique and they are different. Another specific characteristic which differentiates the chloroplast from all other cell organelles is the presence of the DNA. Till now we knew that DNA is present only in the nucleus or it is only present in the mitochondria, but chloroplasts also have the DNA. No other organelles have it except the nucleus and the mitochondria. Ribosomes don't have DNA endoplasmic reticulum don't have DNA, vacuoles don't have DNA. So it is another characteristic. It is making the chloroplast differentiate or important from the point of view of the evolution. Now it has been found that chloroplast is a membranous structure and it contains of three membranous layers. And let me tell you what are those three layers. This is the very simplified structure of a chloroplast. So it has the outer membrane. This is the first layer. It has the inner membrane, which is the second layer. You see the first membrane. This is the outer membrane. This second layer. This is the inner membrane. So these are the two layers, and the third layer. This, you see, this is the third layer. The third layer is the thylakoid, or you say the granum. Now, what are thylakoid and granum or grana? The third layer forms stacked like structure called as granum. Suppose these are the coins. This is the one coin, this is second coin, this is third coin. So the granum is the stack of the coins, stack of thylakoids. Thylakoid are one single structure. You see this oval structure, this circular structure. This is a thylakoid, or you can say a coin-like structure. So this is a thylakoid, and the thylakoid stack upon each other. First thylakoid, second thylakoid, third thylakoid. Okay, this is another thylakoid. All right. So when thylakoids are stacked upon each other, they form a granum. So what is a granum? The stack of thylakoids. So granum is the third layer. The outer membrane first, the inner membrane second, and the granum the third layer. The granum, this one structure is known as the granum. The singular is the granum. And when we collect all these granum, this means there are many granum in the chloroplast. So the plural is known as the grana. The plural is the grana and the singular is the granum. Lamella is the, you see this structure, one thylakoid or one granum. When connected to the other granum, it is connected through lamella. This space between outer and inner membrane is the intermembrane space. This is the intermembrane space. And now stroma. Stroma is the aqueous fluid. This empty space you see here, this portion is filled with the fluid, and that fluid is known as the stroma. And what is lumen? The inside of the thylakoid, it is known as the lumen. This is the thylakoid, and the inside part of it, it is known as the lumen. This is another clarified diagram. It is believed to be a site for trapping of solar energy. It is talking about granum. Okay, now this granum, it is believed that this site is responsible for the trapping of the solar energy, means the light energy falls on the granum and there it is trapped by it. The intermediary fluid filled portion is called the stroma. We have already told you about the portion which was empty, it was known as the stroma, and it is believed to be responsible for the enzymatic reactions. Now in that fluid there are the enzymes present, and what are those enzymes doing? They are leading to the synthesis of glucose. Okay, you know, every reaction in the human body, every reaction in any organism, every reaction in the plant, it is due to the process of the enzymes. The enzymes help the reaction to occur. Okay, so what these enzymes are doing, they are leading to the synthesis of the glucose, and which in turn join together to form starch. We have already discussed about that a starch is made up of glucose chains. Substances found in the chloroplast which capture sunlight are called photosynthetic pigments. Okay, so the substances which are present in the chloroplast, these are known as the photosynthetic pigments. Now not only chlorophyll is present, but the other pigments which we talked about, anthocyanin, carotenes, carotenoids, xanthophylls, they are also present in the chloroplast along with the chlorophyll, but they are masking the color of the chlorophyll. That is why the color of the leaf or the tree, it appear to be purple or red or etc. Okay, but they are also present in the chloroplast. And there are several types of photosynthetic pigments involved in the process to produce organic molecules like glucose in plants. Not only chlorophyll is responsible for the production of glucose, but also the other types of photosynthetic pigments. Chlorophyll is such a pigment which contains one atom of magnesium. When I told you about the protochlorophyll, I told you that it has the magnesium. Similar, the chlorophyll also has the magnesium. Okay, and it is similar to structure to the heme of hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin, iron containing red pigment that transports oxygen in the blood. You know the color of blood, it is red in color. So why the color of the blood is red? It is due to the presence of the hemoglobin. Now this is the human blood hemoglobin, and this is the plant chlorophyll. You see, both have the same structure, like there is an element inside, and there are the rings, this ring, this, four rings, one, two, three, four. These are the rings that are surrounding this element. So in the chlorophyll, that is the magnesium, and in the human blood, hemoglobin, it is the iron. Okay, and it is surrounded by the four porphyrin rings. It is also surrounded by the four porphyrin rings. So the structure is almost similar except for the central element. So two major kinds of chlorophylls are associated with thylakoid membranes. Chlorophyll A, which is blue-green in color, and chlorophyll B, which is yellow-green in color. Now we will see the difference between these two chlorophyll. So chlorophyll A is present in the thylakoid membranes. It is blue-green in color. Chlorophyll B is also present in the thylakoid membranes, but it is yellow-green in color. There is the formula written for both of them. And chlorophyll A is the essential and the major pigment in the plant. But chlorophyll B, it is the accessory pigment, means it helps in aid of the capturing of the sunlight. Alright, it is helping the chlorophyll A to perform the process of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll B is itself the accessory pigment, it is just for the help. Now you don't have to learn these by heart. This was all just for clearing your concepts. Okay. Around 250 to 400 pigment molecules are grouped as light harvesting complex. We will discuss about light harvesting complex in the next lecture. Okay, when we will see the mechanism of photosynthesis. Okay, or photosynthetic unit in each granum. Now what is it saying that 250 to 400 pigment molecules, like 250 to 400 molecules of chlorophyll A or chlorophyll B, these are present in each granum. Such innumerable units function together in chloroplast of green plant in the process of photosynthesis. So this structure, the granum, and when the light falls on it, on the granum is present the chlorophyll A or chlorophyll B or the other accessory pigments. So these help to trap the sunlight and further do the process of photosynthesis. So these are innumerable, means these are unable to count, these are in infinite number. So during photosynthesis several processes occur in the chloroplast. So what are those process? The first process is the conversion of solar energy or light energy to the chemical energy. We have already discussed about this in the previous lectures. Splitting of water molecules, we will discuss it later, okay, in the very next lecture when we will see the mechanism of photosynthesis.
The next step is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates.
Do you remember this diagram when I talked about that oxygen was transferred from water to, let me change the color. Okay, oxygen was transformed from water to the this oxygen. Okay, I hope you remember this diagram. At that time we discussed that the oxygen in the carbohydrate, in the glucose, it is obtained from the carbon dioxide. Okay, so I hope you remember this concept. What I am trying to say is that the carbon dioxide which plant was taking in, it is reduced to form carbohydrates or the glucose. Now, light is required to initiate several events, while several events may continue even in the absence of it. So, what is the necessity for photosynthesis? Like, light is required for it. It means that once the light energy has been captured, it can help reactions to continue even in the dark. Now, it is not necessary that the plants will do photosynthesis in the presence of light. They can perform photosynthesis even in the dark and even in its absence. But what is the major point, what is the key role? That it has already captured the light. Once the chlorophyll has captured the light, okay, now it can perform photosynthesis. Light is not necessary, the capturing of the light is necessary. Once it has captured the light, it is good to go, it will perform the process of photosynthesis. Light dependent events or reactions are called the light reactions. Now the mechanism of photosynthesis, it is divided into two reactions, the light dependent reactions and the light independent reactions. Events which depend on the light dependent reactions, these are called the light reactions, and they take place in the grana, while the rest, means the other reactions, they are called the light independent reactions, means they are not dependent upon the light. They are called the dark reactions and they occur in the stroma, means the fluid filled portion of the chloroplast.